Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okoro. The trial of Senate President Bukola Saraki at the Code of Conduct Tribunal has been adjourned till March 18th. The Senate President was charged before the tribunal to answer to allegations of corruption leveled against him by the Conduct Bureau. He has since pled not guilty to all 13 charges leveled against him, describing them as false and frivolous, adding that the charges were calculated to rubbish him. The Senate leader had appealed to the Supreme Court to hold the trial, but the 7-member judges of the Apex Court had last month dismissed his appeal. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has announced new appointments into key positions of the organization. Earlier this week, President Muhammadu Buhari had approved the reorganization of the NNPC into 7 independent units. The units are upstream, downstream, gas and power marketing, refineries and ventures, corporate planning and services, and finance and accounts. In a press statement by the management of NNPC, the company unveiled the names of the heads of the various departments. The appointments are part of the recent reorganization by the management of the corporation. It takes effect from April 1st, 2016. Oil workers in Nigeria say the joint strike action embarked upon by NUPENG and Pengasson was only suspended to allow for a window period to discuss issues that led to the strike. The strike began on Wednesday over restructuring at NNPC by the federal government. NUPENG and Pengasson accused the federal government of totally disregarding due process and failing to engage stakeholders before carrying out the action. The striking workers decided to suspend their strike after a series of meetings between the unions and the presidency. Meanwhile, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) says it has released 228 truckloads of petroleum products to various locations in Abuja and its environs in a bid to end the current fuel scarcity. A notorious leader of the Boko Haram sect was arrested Thursday by Nigerian troops while leading a gang of gunmen to ferry fuel through border communities in Borno State, northeast Nigeria. The man is among the terrorists on the wanted list of the Nigerian Army. Spokesperson of the Army, Sani Usman, said a combined team of troops from the 7 Multinational Joint Task Force Brigade stationed in Baga and those of 118 Task Force Battalion carried out the operation. The troops also recovered 210 liters of fuel, motorcycles and foodstuffs in addition to arms and ammunition. The managing director of Lekki Gardens, the construction company behind the collapsed building in Lekki, Lagos State, has been detained by police officials. Richard Inyong is being detained at the Pantin police station following the collapse of a 5-story building under construction on Tuesday. The building killed at least 34 people while 13 others were rescued alive. Lagos State officials say preliminary findings show that the collapsed building exceeded the number of floors approved by Lagos State authorities. Now, following the controversy over the padding of the 2016 budget, the federal government has redeployed 22 senior staff of the Budget Office in the Ministry of Budget and National Planning to other ministries, departments and agencies. The redeployment, which takes effect from March 11, was communicated to the directors by the head of service of the Federation, Winifred Ekanem Oyoita. Serious controversy has dogged the 2016 budget, characterized by its disappearance, embarrassing errors and reported cases of padding. The development led to the sack of the former Director General of the Budget Office of the Federation, Yahaya Guzo, and the appointment of Tijani Abdullahi as his replacement. A federal high court in Abuja has granted Nigeria's former defense chief Alex Bade bail for the sum of 2 billion naira. Bade is currently facing a 10-count charge for crimes bordering on money laundering. The judge, Justice Okon Abang, in granting the accused bail, also ordered him to provide 2 sureties with a bail bond of 1 billion naira each. He also ordered that the sureties be owners of landed properties in any part of Abuja. He then fixed March 14th for the commencement of Bade's trial. President Muhammadu Buhari has appointed Dakuko Peterside as the Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. Peterside was the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress (APC) in the last election, which held in Rivers State. His appointment was confirmed on Thursday. He is also expected to resume office immediately. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll look at business and sports stories. Stay tuned.
you're welcome. You're watching the Funny White Man Show, which is the biggest, the brightest, and the most entertaining show in Africa.
Funny white man, but this way you talk, it's too much. Give me 5,000 man, that's you. It's too much. So you get it like, Messi move along the street. Yeah, Messi like that, I'm going girl. You know, my own people, actually. Yeah, fine, it's fun. I enjoy it. And I'm one of those very few.
I'm forever taking it personal. I will say 160 million Nigerians are corrupt. How? Brother, I'm looking for you.
Yeah, but it's a growth, and this is the time to build business and know the pitfalls and know what to do and what not to do. But there are months where you get business and months.
You know how we do, how we train them. We did the way you did.
Hello, you're welcome. You're watching Trending Matters on the Funny White Man Show. Of course, we will bring you trending issues just to entertain and tickle your fancy.
Welcome back. You're watching TV360 News now. The Nigerian naira fell flat against the dollar at the parallel market. The local currency was quoted at 3.20 to the dollar on Thursday, broadly flat compared with the 3.10 to the dollar last week on the parallel market. Forex dealers linked the persistent fall of the naira to panic buying of the dollar and other major international currencies by importers, individuals, and even businessmen. The CBN has, however, left its official rate unchanged at 197 to the dollar at the interbank window. South African telecoms firm MTN has offered $1.5 billion to settle a much larger fine from Nigerian regulators for missing a deadline to disconnect unregistered SIM card users. In a letter to the Nigerian government from MTN's lawyer, former U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder, the company proposed a 300 billion naira settlement to be paid through a combination of government bond purchases, cash installments, and network access to the Nigerian government. The company was handed the penalty in October last year after failing to meet up with the deadline to disconnect users with unregistered SIM cards. The original fine imposed by NCC on MTN was 1.04 trillion naira. Power generation in Nigeria has dropped to 1,580 megawatts. This is according to electricity officials. This has led to the current blackout presently being experienced in some parts of the country for the past 3 days. The Power Holding Company of Nigeria, PHCN, attribute the decrease in power generation to a partial system collapse at Shiroro Dam in Niger State and activities of pipeline vandals in the Niger Delta region. Oil prices jumped on Friday, supported by fresh investment and a weaker dollar, but analysts warned that a stronger price rally was premature as a global glut remained in place. Brent crude was trading at $40.70 a barrel, while U.S. crude was trading at $38.64 a barrel, up 80 cents. Traders say much of the oil price support came from the Chinese yuan, which hit its level, the highest level since 2016, on Friday. Business tycoon Aliko Dangote has urged the federal government to come up with suitable policies that will aid the diversification of the Nigerian economy. He said this is the right time for government to create factual policies, especially as the price of oil, Nigeria's main income, had fallen drastically.
This is the right moment. I know us in Nigeria, once the oil gets back to $80, nobody will diversify. We'll go back to our same misbehavior. And I think this is the right opportunity for us to do. But government should be very specific, come out with clear policies with support. And also the implementation has to be monitored and also, give a support of, okay, how do we, diversify the economy. If we don't do it now, we will never do it, and that's what we need to do. But lower oil prices does not mean a doom. In 1998, up to 99, the price of oil was $9. So what you need to do is just to block the holes and also make sure that you have that policy of diversification. Even if that's what we'll achieve, it's good for us.
Nigeria's Minister of Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enelama, has identified some of the challenges facing the country as it seeks to rebuild its economy. While expressing optimism that the Nigerian economy can be restored, the minister said the challenges must first be addressed. Nigeria, which is Africa's top oil exporter, has been experiencing an economic crisis in the past year following the drop in oil prices.
I think the challenge is the challenge of implementation, and I will explain what I mean by that. You know, I've noticed that some of these things are easier said than done. So take, for instance, when we talk about the partnership that should exist between the public sector and the private sector. You know, we actually need to do more work to engage the private sector, to work with us to create the capacity, to implement the policies of government in a way that is business friendly and in a way that gets the intended results, as opposed to a few people, you know, like interfering with those results. You know, so I call it the challenge of implementation. Now, obviously, when you start breaking down the challenge of implementation, you get into things like capacity, you know, how much capacity you have in government, and that's why I say you have to bring in capacity outside. You get into things like incentives, you know, and frankly, what you might even call perverse incentives, which is where people have incentives to, you know, maybe have roadblocks, right? Because maybe they benefit from it one way or the other. And all those sort of things are things we need to dismantle and overcome if we're going to achieve our goals. But I would say the biggest challenge we face is actually around infrastructure. And as you know, this government has made a commitment that we will steadily and sustainably invest in infrastructure, 30% of the budget of government. But that is nowhere near enough. So we also need to attract private capital. So one of our policy thrusts is partnering with private capital for infrastructure. We also need to talk finally about soft infrastructure, which is building institutions, rule of law, property rights, you know, and you know, things like ease of doing business. We also need to do those things, and I think if we do that, I always say water doesn't run uphill in Nigeria. You'll find that, like, we'll be like other nations, we'll achieve very good results.
Angolan President Jose Eduardo dos Santos said on Friday he plans to step down in 2018 after being at the helm of office since 1979, making him one of Africa's longest-serving leaders. Angola, a member of OPEC and Africa's second-largest oil exporter after Nigeria, relies on crude export revenues for more than 90% of foreign exchange revenues. The country's next election will be held in 2017. U.S. Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump came under fire from his rivals on Thursday for saying Muslims hate the United States at a debate. Thursday's debate was relatively free of the gut-punching attacks that have dominated past encounters. Trump, the frontrunner who could tighten his grip on the Republican presidential nomination battle if he wins Florida and Ohio on Tuesday, defended his belief as stated that followers of Islam hate America. But Trump's rivals, U.S. Senator Marco Rubio of Florida, U.S. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, and Ohio Governor John Kasich slammed his remarks, saying the United States needs to maintain good relations with Muslim countries to help in the fight against ISIS. Karim Benzema could be free to play at Euro 2016 after a judge lifted legal restrictions around the French striker. Benzema had been prevented from meeting his France teammate Mathieu Valbuena after being charged in connection with an alleged plot to blackmail the midfielder over a sex tape. The Real Madrid striker remains under investigation, but now the Court of Appeal of Versailles has partially lifted some of the restrictions around Benzema, namely the judicial ruling that he could not contact Valbuena. A Spanish court has accepted appeals from Barcelona club president Josep Maria Bartomeu and predecessor Sandro Rosell over allegations of tax fraud relating to the signing of Neymar. The European champions confirmed in a statement that neither president will face trial over allegations they defrauded Spanish tax officials when the Brazil international was signed from Santos. The club has also been cleared of tax offences in the same case after their appeals at a Barcelona provincial court was upheld. Well, that's all we have on news now. We thank you very much for watching. I am Thelma Okoro.